protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. In for Baloo this week with Dylan Denmark, the Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us. A Wednesday that we now have training camp dates for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We know when they're going to scrimmage, or I guess have a training camp joint practice with the Miami Dolphins. A lot of information about that was released. We have a Stanley Cup champion that remains in the Sunshine State. We have an NBA draft that is now less than a week away. We have an NBA Finals and potentially a new champion that could be crowned as early as tomorrow night. And we certainly have a lot of Jaguar news to discuss as well. So we're glad you're with us over the next 2 hours. Let me kind of lay out the guest lineup for you. Coming up here in about 15 minutes or so, a little over, my buddy Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. The man's an absolute Jaguar encyclopedia. We'll talk to Brian about the offseason that was, OTAs, minicamp. We will look ahead to training camp as well. So we'll do a deep dive into the Jaguar roster with Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com in less than 20 minutes. At the top of the 7 o'clock hour, my buddy Sean Devaney has covered the NBA for years. He's been my guy with the NBA for, 5 or 6 years plus. He's with Heavy.com. We'll talk with Sean about the NBA Finals. We'll talk about the NBA Draft, a little Walter Clayton Jr. conversation, and certainly about the trade that the Orlando Magic made over the weekend, acquiring Desmond Bane from Memphis. So some NBA talk tonight at the top of the 7 o'clock hour with Sean Devaney. And as I told the boys during the 2-minute drill there, AFC West this week. We're going one division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's all about the AFC West, and what a division it is, man. We'll make stops in Los Angeles, we'll make stops in Las Vegas, and we'll make stops in Denver. But tonight, we're going to start with the team that has absolutely owned the AFC West now for almost a decade. That, of course, is the Kansas City Chiefs. My buddy Seren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City, will join me to look back on the Chiefs offseason. That comes up later on in the 7 o'clock hour. So we're glad you're with us on a Wednesday. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So we got two big deals of the night. One is a little bigger than the other, but I'm going to take this moment, Denmark, and I'm never one to not do this. I'm going to pat myself on the back, all right? Because there comes a time in life where you just have to prove that you still got it, right? 41 years of age. I'm certainly not the 25-year-old athletic beast that I was, or certainly not what I was on the JV football team getting after it at the junior varsity level there on Powers Avenue at Wolfson High School. But even at 41, you got to prove that you can still go with the young kids from time to time. So today we had a little get-together down at the Jaguars flex field. The station did. We were doing some photos and videos, getting ready for football season. And Dempsey of the award-winning Jaguars Today program, 10 to noon every day, said, hey, Hack, why don't you run a route? And he had a football. I said, yeah, man, why not? Why not? See if I can still do it. So I went about 20 yards, Denmark. Dempsey was at the 40. I went to the 20. He told me to cut inside. He let it rip. And Denmark, not only did these hands catch that football, but it was a low throw. Dempsey wanted to keep it away from the imaginary defensive back that was guarding me. I went down and I secured the catch all the way to the ground. I gave my blood, my sweat, and my tears to this 20-yard, what I would call a long down and in pattern. No video because I didn't want them to take video because I thought I was going to make a fool of myself. But I did have witnesses, Denmark. And if you don't have video, at least you have witnesses. And I got a standing ovation. I got cheers from the crowd, my colleagues here at 1010XL. It might have been the most athletic thing I've done in probably a decade, I'd say, at least 5 years. Just made my day. So no matter what happens for the remainder of the evening and possibly the remainder of the month, the fact is that I did not embarrass myself. I went to the ground at the Jaguar flex field. I secured the catch. It would have been a first down, man. We're talking about a 20-yard gain on the play. And I don't know if, any of the wide receivers on the Jaguar depth chart that are on the bubble need to necessarily be worried about me. All I'm saying is James Gladstone's looking for intangibly rich people, all right? And at 41 years of age, if I can do that on a 20-yard, down and in, and if I can secure the catch with all my colleagues watching me with the worry that I'm going to embarrass myself, if I let all that go and make the catch to move the chains, I'm just saying, James Gladstone, you got my cell phone number, man. I'm available, all right? If you need me, I'm there for you. Intangibly rich, right? That is what it was today for me, yours truly, the hacker, down at the Jaguar flex field. Of course, Denmark, an athletic specimen like yourself, a 20-yard down and in where you have to go to the ground and make the catch, probably wouldn't even be in the top 10 athletic things you've done for the week. But for me, it was absolutely a spectacle unlike any other.
Yeah, the week, probably be the best thing than hitting my gap wedge about 90 yards, but that probably cracked the top 10.
Hey, man, I'm telling you, it was a moment for me, no question about it. I had a moment earlier before that when the news came out, and again, when I saw this, I didn't jump to any conclusions like I know some people did on social media, but Rays Baseball made a statement today down in Tampa. This is the official statement from Rays Baseball. The Tampa Bay Rays announced that the team has recently commenced exclusive discussions with a group led by Patrick Zablosky, Bill Cosgrove, Ken Babby of the Jumbo Shrimp, and prominent Tampa Bay investors concerning a possible sale of the team. Neither the Rays nor the group will have further comment during these discussions. And when there was a Jacksonville link to this group that is having conversations about purchasing the Rays, well, then people let their minds wander at that point. I mean, people were talking about, whoa, wait a minute, what's going on here? Could Major League Baseball be moving to Jacksonville? And again, when I read the statement and I read the story, to me, it spoke of Tampa Bay investors and some Jacksonville investors as a group, right? And all we've heard is that Tampa, they're going to do everything in their power to remain down there. But when a story like that does come out, leads the mind to wander a little bit, does it not? Could Jacksonville, the city, you, the sports fans of Northeast Florida, would you even want to have another Big Four pro sports team in town? Whether that's Major League Baseball, whether that's the NBA, or whether that's the NHL. Now, as I told Frangie and Carline there on the handoff, I've said now for many years that I would doubt Jacksonville ever gets another pro sports team, although I think we would be deserving of it. A lot of people didn't think Jacksonville would last in the NFL for a decade. We've lasted 3 decades plus, and guess what? We're going to be around for a minimum of 3 more decades. The NFL has worked in Jacksonville. It did take some work to get us here, but the NFL has worked in our community. Could any of the other pro sports leagues, of the big pro sports leagues, do that? Would it work here? Major League Baseball, now the Jumbo Shrimp have quite the following. I mean, there's a lot of people that go to Jumbo Shrimp games. A lot of people. But if you're looking at possible expansion for Major League Baseball, I would think there are probably some other cities that will be ahead of Jacksonville on the list. And one is likely getting a team in Las Vegas when the A's move there. In the National Basketball Association, I would tend to doubt it just simply because you got teams in Atlanta, you got teams in Orlando, and you got a team in Miami. I can't imagine the NBA putting one in Jacksonville to have 4 NBA teams between Miami and Atlanta. That seems a little congested. I would love it. I'm a diehard NBA fan. I mean, if Jacksonville ever got a team, I would have to strongly consider my Orlando Magic ties, but I don't think the NBA would be in the cards here. The National Hockey League, I think of all the other Big Four pro sports, that is the one that I could close my eyes and imagine a scenario that could one day happen. Now, it would take a new arena. I love the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, but it's not NHL approved, if you will. You need a bigger arena, which obviously comes with the cost of that and certain things. But those Jacksonville Icemen games, brother, let me tell you, man, Jacksonville has a hockey crowd. Now, I don't know what TV ratings are for NHL games that don't involve Jacksonville teams, but I can tell you going to those Icemen games, there are hockey people in this town. And there are hockey people that, to me, would support an NHL product. And of the other three, NBA, Major League Basketball, or Major League Baseball, and the National Hockey League, I think the NHL would be the league that if relocation were to ever happen to Jacksonville or expansion or any of the other, big sports, if you will, the NHL is where I would look at. Again, Denmark, I don't think it's going to happen. I can dream. But I would say the NHL above MLB and above the NBA if it were to ever happen.
Yeah, I would much rather have an MLB team. But, yeah, I don't think any of those three are going to happen. I mean, you don't really, you have the Jags that have, 7, 8, 9 home games every year. And, I mean, when was the last time that they've sold out every game throughout the entire home season?
Right. And you have a hockey team that's 41 home games a year. You'd have to build up downtown, right? Yeah. I mean, you go to any of these cities. And Frangie made a great point with the Fortune 500 companies, and there's certainly a lot to that. So I want to take kind of a different tact. I'm just talking about downtown Jacksonville, and this is a conversation we've had forever, right? Years and years and years and years and years. If you want people to go to 41 home games, and that's just regular season, in downtown Jacksonville, well, you got to give them something to do. And there's not a lot to do down there. I mean, there are a couple of nice restaurants, which we enjoy. There's a little bit of nightlife. But go to any of these NHL, go to Tampa for a night and go watch where the Lightning play. They're right in Ybor, man. I mean, you kidding me? There's a million things to do. Go to an NBA game in Orlando. It's right next to Church Street Station. I mean, Church Street is booming at night with things to do. Any of these markets that have NBA or NHL teams or Major League Baseball, we'll just keep it to the NBA and NHL for now. When you have 41 home regular season games, you got a handful of home preseason games, and hopefully you have, 8, 10, 12 postseason games. You're talking 55, 60 nights a year that you would be hosting people downtown at the arena with NHL or NBA teams. What would be going on down there? What would you be doing down there? So that's one aspect of it. The Fortune 500 thing was a great point Frangie made. That's another aspect of it. So there's a lot of stuff that you would have to get through for another league to even want to come here, much less to choose to come here. But if we can dream, which is what we're doing, to me, the National Hockey League is the most realistic of the other sports if Jacksonville were to ever get another pro sports franchise from one of the big four leagues. But we got one, and we support it like nobody's business. There's no doubt about that. And a guy that's been here from day one is my buddy Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com. Let's review Jaguar OTAs, Jaguar minicamp. Let's talk about the roster, and let's look ahead to some position battles, maybe some tough cuts ahead when it comes to training camp, which, by the way, training camp, the Jaguar rookies report July the 19th, so 1 month from tomorrow. The rookies are in. The veterans report July the 22nd, and one would think that if the veterans and rookies are both in July 22nd, that first practice is going to be Wednesday, July 23rd. I don't think that's been announced yet, but I can't imagine a scenario where if everybody's in by the 22nd, they're not on the field on the 23rd. So if I were a betting man, I'd say Wednesday, July 23rd will be the first on-field training camp practice, which, again, you're only talking about 5 weeks from today, as a matter of fact. 35 days away from practice being held for the 2025 Jaguar training camp period. Let's talk about all of it with Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com. He joins me next on a Wednesday evening here in the city of Jacksonville. It's Hacker After Dark, in for Baloo, right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Another classic moment in Jags history.
It starts with a great play by Tony Brackett. He knows he's too far upfield to sack Dan Marino, so he's going to take a swipe at the football. Big-time play here by Tony Brackett.
1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local woman-owned solar company. Did you hear? JEA is raising rates again. With summer right around the corner, those power bills are only going to go up. But with solar, you can take control of energy costs and say goodbye to rising rates. At Clay Solar, we make switching easy and affordable. Stop paying more for power and own it. Visit claysolar.com to schedule a consultation today.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
Jacksonville, Florida. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
When it comes to my opinion, I love dropping the hammer. I'm Hayes Carlyon. Listen for Hammer Time with Hayes weekdays on The Frangie Show.
Hammer Time with Hayes, driven by Kia on Atlantic. Check us out at KiaOnAtlantic.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has been a legend on-road. They've branched out to their off-road division as well. Give us the latest on what you can find on the asphalt.
They've got some great new products. They've got the Scrambler 400s you can get into for a little less than you might think. It's a great price point bike, but still a Triumph.
So affordability is also part of the equation.
It is, and it looks good, and it rides good.
CyclesofJacksonville.com, or check them out on their Facebook page. The showroom ready and waiting for you on Atlantic near Regency at Cycles of Jacksonville.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Care you can see.
The 2025 season schedule has dropped, and single-game tickets are on sale now. Be at the bank to watch Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars take on the biggest names in the NFL. Don't miss your favorite matchup and secure your tickets now by visiting Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. See you this fall, Jags fans.
Yes, sir. That's the best decision.
I love it.
It's a battle for the playoffs as your Sharks take on the first place Steamwheelers. Catch all the action this Saturday, June 21st at 7. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try the new 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700.
Prosser here. Come cheer on the Sharks as they circle a playoff bid. It's Star Wars night presented by HCA Florida Healthcare. Dress up in your favorite costume. Get photos with your favorite Star Wars characters before the game. The first 1,000 kids get a free lightsaber. Join us on the field after the game for a free autograph session and special jersey auction. Tickets start at just $15. Call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made.
Go Sharks!
Oh, no. No.
You okay in there?
Toilet's backed up. It won't flush.
Okay, I'll call the pros.
The tank isn't filling. The handle does nothing. Run for your life.
Don't be so dramatic. Duck Duck Rooter will fix it.
For any plumbing issue, call Duck Duck Rooter, your local plumbing professionals and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're stuck, call the duck. 904-862-6769.
A chipped windshield can turn into a big problem fast. Lauren Brooks here. Trust Novus Glass of Jacksonville for expert repair and replacement. Call 904-289-2905 for Novus Glass in Orange Park. 904-289-2905.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars, basically in the rearview mirror, right? OTAs and minicamp. Now in the rearview mirror, we are about a month outside of training camp, and then we will kick off the 2025 NFL season. Let's look back on OTAs, let's look back on minicamp, and let's look ahead to maybe some position battles that will happen in training camp. Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Brian, how you doing?
I'm good, Ryan. How's your summer going?
It's good. It's good. Had a little getaway to Las Vegas with the wife. We went to see Kenny Chesney at the Sphere, which was absolutely incredible. But happy to be back. And look, you all of a sudden look at the calendar, Brian, and we're a month away from training camp, man. It's right around the corner.
Don't wish it away. I mean, for those of us who do this all year long, this is our time. Coaches and football people, this is where we get away and unplug, because once training camp begins, man, it just doesn't let up.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and you're exactly right. And as I've gotten older and a little wiser, I think I see that more and more. I don't do the day countdown anymore like I used to. But let's talk about what transpired over the last month. You and I haven't spoke since OTAs, and of course we had a mini camp last week. We'll get into some individual things in a moment, but from a mile-high view, Brian, do you think the coaching staff accomplished what they wanted to with the offseason program?
Well, nobody would ever tell you they get everything they want mixed in. But the one thing Liam kept saying was that they had unbelievable participation and that they got done a lot of the work that they hoped they would get done, right? And, I mean, every coach is going to say, yeah, we got it all done. But you got to get it done in a manner where you're not just giving them the information, but they're taking it from the classroom to the field, then back to the film study and making progress. And from that perspective, I mean, Liam said it over and over and over, because they had most of the roster there, the entire program, they felt like they were in a good spot when minicamp ended.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. All right. Obviously, Travis Hunter was the one everybody wanted to see. There were a lot of other storylines that emerged, but let's begin with the first-round pick. Again, it's helmets and shorts. It is what it is, but it's all we can go on right now. Brian, what was your thought on Travis Hunter?
Well, listen, there are just certain players on the football field, Ryan, and you've done this long enough that you know what I'm about to say, that move differently, the way that they walk onto the field, the way that they jog, they just look like lions out there on the Serengeti. They move differently. So I look when an elite player or a guy who is thought to be elite takes his first steps onto the practice field, and Travis Hunter didn't disappoint. I mean, he's just so fluid, so effortless, so sudden. It's hard to know a lot about what's going to translate to training camp and to Sundays at this point. But the one thing is for certain, he's different. He is an elite athlete, and all of the movement skills and change of direction and hands and ball skills, all of that stuff showed up. I mean, who didn't see the video of him in coverage down the field, turning, knocking the ball away, and then as he was falling to the ground, pulling it in for what looked like an interception? I mean, he's just different.
Brian, I call you the Jaguar Encyclopedia because you've seen every rookie that's ever come through those doors, from Tony Boselli now to Travis Hunter. And if you include the likes of, Fred Taylor being from Florida, obviously what Trevor Lawrence was when he came here a couple of years ago. Have you ever seen anything like this as far as fan reaction to a rookie?
No, and listen, not because those players weren't great players deserving of attention, but we just live in such a different media culture in this day and age. I mean, he's got 3 or 4 million social media followers, and that includes a lot of casual fans, both here and around the country. Hell, we may find out around the world by the time he gets to London in October. No, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, he's a legitimate superstar. And it used to be that in order to be a superstar, you either had to be a guy who won a Super Bowl and was on commercials, or play in New York, Dallas, or Chicago, LA. Well, I mean, now because of social media and because of the instantaneous nature of the media world that we live in, you don't have to be. You can be a superstar in Jacksonville, Florida. So have never seen it. I've seen some great players deserving of that kind of attention, but he's the first one I think that I would call a legitimate multimedia superstar.
I asked you your thoughts on, the situation with the player Travis Hunter this offseason. What about Trevor Lawrence, Brian? What did you see out of the Jaguar starting quarterback?
Well, he looks like he's recovered from the injury. He's a big, strong, strapping guy. He always has been. I thought he looked definitive, which is it's not an easy thing for a guy to do when he's in his third offense in his fifth season. There would naturally be a little bit of confusion, perhaps, on what he's looking at, what it's called, what the coach's expectation is. But I didn't see that from him. And I think that it's so hard to get into the mindset of a guy because all you can take them on is their word. But I think he's motivated by the fact that last season went so poorly, coming off the heels of the year before, which ended so poorly. And I kind of got the sense he was just tired of all the crap that hadn't gone his way. It helps him that he's got a young coaching staff, an energetic Liam Cohen, and that they brought in a guy like Travis Hunter back-to-back years. They've invested in weapons for him, and they, with no disrespect meant to Evan Ingram or Christian Kirk, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter are supposed to be stars, are supposed to be different, and they are.
Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com. I'm guilty of it because I just asked you first and foremost about Hunter and Lawrence. Brian, there was a 2-minute period last week during practice that was open to the fans that Brian Thomas Jr. was on the ground. And we did not know the severity of that. And thank goodness he got up, walked off under his own power, actually came back onto the sideline that same practice. Liam Cohen was asked about it, said it was a shoulder, but he could have gone back in. And, in fact, he was out there the very next day for the final day of minicamp. But for those 2 minutes that you could have heard a pin drop in the Miller Electric Center, it put into perspective for me, Brian, yeah, Travis Hunter and Trevor Lawrence get all the acclaim in the offseason. I'm not so sure Brian Thomas may not be the most important person on this team outside of those two.
Well, Ryan, listen, he's the best player on the roster. He is the best of the 53, and that includes all the pass rushers, the quarterback. He is the best player on the roster. So, yes, he is the most important. He will pressure a defense, stretch a defense, make a defensive coordinator lose his mind with the way that he can make a play where seemingly there is no play to be made. And you can go back to last year and think about some of those he made. Now, the problem that the defensive coordinator's got is he's got to worry about Brian Thomas doing what seems to be undoable down the field. And then he's got Travis Hunter and De'Ami Brown, who showed the ability to stretch the field as well. But those two guys, I think, how do I say this? I think those two guys are made that much better because Brian Thomas Jr. is on the field. That's not to say that in his own regard that Travis Hunter won't do the exact same thing that Brian Thomas does. The juniors get me. The thirds get me. Sorry. It's not to say that he won't eventually do the same thing. But Travis Hunter is going to have the opportunity to come in here and do what he does best because he's got a guy in Brian Thomas that is exceptional. And I watched him do some things, and I know all eyes were on number 12. And there were a couple of the closed practices during OTAs where everyone had their eyes on 12, and I'm watching 7 make the kind of play that I haven't seen a guy since Jimmy Smith make. It's just, he is special. And I don't like to throw around best overall player without having considered it because I have such high regard for Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen, and I don't want to take away anything from those two guys. But Brian Thomas Jr. is the best player on that team.
Final moments, Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. All right, Brian, now let's fast forward to training camp and a couple of things that I saw materialize during OTAs and minicamp that I believe will be big storylines in training camp. First and foremost, who do you think is going to be running back number 1 on this roster?
Oh, I think it's going to be Travis Etienne to start. I think when they look at the body of work, and I know that he had a disappointing season last year, and I'm not a guy who advocates handing him the ball between the tackles too often because he just doesn't have the bulk like Tank does. But I've seen a motivated Etienne, and who wouldn't be? He's going into a year that he's going to make $5 million, which is a lot of money, but not comparative to a lot of the offensive weapons that are around him. And I think looking at the running back world these days, he's got one shot at another contract. It's not going to be here. So this is a prove-it year for him to the rest of the league. And I saw that in him, or at least I think I saw it in him, watching him on the field. And I think it's going to be tough. I know Tootin, the rookie from Virginia Tech, is an explosive athlete, and he's the future. But I'm not sure if he's the present because it's going to be tough for him to come in and hold off a grown man in Travis Etienne. The Trevors and the Travises, they're all over the roster.
They are. There's no doubt about that. And they're all prevalent on the roster
Trayvon
as well.
Oh, yeah, Trayvon, Travis, Trevor.
It happens. Yeah, no doubt. The offensive line, Brian, to me is another one, too. They brought in 6 guys, right? 4 in pro free agency, 2 in the draft. If you are under the understanding that all 6 of those guys make the roster, and by the way, I believe they will, boy, that makes the competition. I mean, you got Walker Little, Anton Harrison, Ezra Cleveland, Luke Fortner, Cole Van Lanen, Javon Foster. I mean, they're going to have to cut a couple of guys on the O-line. The Jaguar fans know who they are.
Well, listen, there's a couple guys along that offensive line who really have to play better football. You mentioned Anton Harrison. Listen, he's been challenged. He wasn't even working with the ones in the final days of that mini camp. He is a supremely talented guy. He's got the length. He's got the power. I think he's got the footwork. He's shown us at times that he is a guy who could play left or right tackle. He's that capable, but he hasn't been consistent. Now, the shoulder and the knee in his first 2 seasons have caused him some problems. But I think this coaching staff is going into it saying, listen, you're a first-round pick. You need to prove it if you're going to be the guy on the right side. Same thing with Walker Little. I think he's going to be pushed by Fred Johnson, who's maybe the biggest offensive tackle, and that includes Baselli, that the Jaguars have ever had. I mean, this guy's shoulders, they're as wide as my car. I mean, and he's got incredible length. I think playing in Philly, maybe he has forgotten the heat and humidity that he once encountered when he was at Florida. He didn't look like he was necessarily in the best shape during minicamp, but I trust that over the summer between now and training camp, he'll be ready to go. I think Walker Little's got to do the same thing. And let's be honest, when Walker Little has been in the lineup, he hasn't been able to stay there. He hasn't either played well or he's been injured. So the tackle positions in particular, to me, are very interesting because I think you can say, well, Harrison and Little are the guys. Yeah, don't be so sure. This group comes in and they've cleaned it up. They're going to look at everybody, and they've gone and brought some of their own guys in here. I wouldn't be surprised if neither one of those guys is the starting tackle.
Whew, that would be interesting, no question about it. And I do agree there are battles to be had on the O-line. All right, Brian, in our final moments, I think safety is another one, right? You look at the numbers at safety. All right, Ransaw is going to be here. He was a third-round pick. They brought in Eric Murray. Rayon Lane may be a question mark in round 6, but they like him. And then you still have Dewey Wingard, Daniel Thomas, Darnell Savage, Antonio Johnson. There's too many guys and not enough roster spots.
Well, so I think when you look at the kid from Navy, you're talking about the next Daniel Thomas. You're talking about the next Dewey Wingard. Those guys who are elite special teams performers. They love him for that. I wouldn't look at him to be on the field in a starting capacity. Listen, I think you got Murray that you paid and you brought him in because he's a stabilizing factor. I think he's going to start on one side. Don't be surprised at all if Caleb Ransaw is not in that lineup. If not the first Sunday of the season, certainly by the second month of the season. If you watched him, and I know that you were there on the sidelines watching, this is a guy with really, really good ball skills. He's got great feet. He's got recognition. He can do it all. He is a really good football player, and proof that you don't have to play at a Power 5 school to be an NFL player. This guy's got the skill set that they want on the back end. If he's not ready, well, that's what you've got Dewey Wingard for. Although, Antonio Johnson, who really struggled last year, and, of course, who didn't in that defense? But in this defense, I thought he had a pretty good summer as well. The good news for them is, and you mentioned Darnell Savage, they've got names, and they've got guys who can play. So let's find out who among them is ready to take that next step. But Ransaw looks like a long-term starter. They really like him. I mean, they think he is a tremendous football player. So whether it's Murray or Dewey or Johnson, they've got some bodies back there. They're not bereft of talent. They've got some things they can work with.
All right, Brian, leave us with this. Final question. I think I ask you this every year. Heading into training camp, was there a guy or two that maybe Jaguar fans don't know who he is, an undrafted free agent, someone along those lines, that you think Jaguar fans will know who he is pretty quickly in training camp?
Well, listen, it's not a sexy position, but Wyatt Milam, the offensive tackle who's going to be a guard in the NFL, the kid from West Virginia, man, he sure looks the part.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's just big and strong, and his feet are really good. Of course, you'd expect that. A guy played left tackle and was the best left tackle in the Big 12 Conference for a couple years in a row. How long it takes him to get in the starting lineup, I don't know, but it won't be very long. He looks like a guy you could plug and play, and I think Ezra Cleveland's one of those guys that you might see him going somewhere else before the start of the regular season. On that side of the ball, he just looks terrific. And listen, it's not a name that nobody knows, but I want to throw it out there because I asked Josh Hines-Allen in particular about Mason Smith and whether he had put in the work and was showing the progress that he needed to. Let's be honest. Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen have had to work for every sack they've gotten the last 2 years because there hasn't been a consistent push up the middle. The quarterback can step up into the pocket as these guys come around to the outside because there hadn't been a defensive tackle pushing a center or a guard into the quarterback and forcing him to scramble into the arms of 41 or 44. Mason Smith is a big stud of a physical specimen. I mean, he is just big and strong. Looks like Chris Jones in terms of his physique. And I've seen him move like Jeffrey Simmons. That's high praise. I mean, if this guy puts the work in, he can be a hell of a football player. And Josh Hines-Allen said so far, so good. He'd had a good spring. He had worked hard. He had asked a lot of questions. He had talked to Josh and Trayvon throughout the time when they weren't all together and thinks that he's ready to take a big step. Well, listen, that would be music to Tony Boselli and James Gladstone and Liam Cohen's ears because this guy's a second-round pick. And if he hadn't gotten injured, might have been a first-round pick. So if he's ready to play this year, he is a linchpin for that defense because you've seen it too, Ryan, on the practice field. He's a guy who can move people, and that's important for the pass rush.
Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com. Brian, enjoy this next month or so. Hope you get away with the family for a little vacation, and I'll see you out there at training camp, my friend.
Looking forward to it, Rye. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your summer also.
Some people call it X.
What?
Some still call it Twitter.
Okay, I got it.
Whatever you call it, it's the best place for up-to-the-minute Jags coverage from 1010XL.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
You tired of high energy bills? Replace those inefficient windows and patio doors now. Don't miss Renewal by Anderson's 30th anniversary sale. Buy one window or patio door and get one 30% off. Financing options are available and this offer expires June 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Me a year for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet, and you know how much I love it. My family is obsessed. With summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you and your dad want? Think tool storage, workbenches, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes all you guys. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. ClosetsByDesign.com.
Don't miss the Barry Breakdown with Dr. George Barry on XL Primetime, Wednesdays around 3:20 for the latest in sports injuries. From all the big names in the game, who's MIA, who's coming back from injury. Dr. George Barry on XL Primetime, Wednesdays at 3:20.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
As down payments get bigger, millions of renters across America feel like they'll never be able to buy a home. So instead of lowering expectations, Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with ONE+, helping more renters become owners. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, you know, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Boots, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So, guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. The 4th is a few weeks away, and I know what you're thinking. I can't start a Waco 180 weight loss because I want to eat on the long 4th of July weekend. Well, guess what? You can eat hamburgers on a Waco 180 weight loss. You can eat chicken, steak, or pork, too. You can even eat lobster because you're eating real food and losing weight. More important, it's fast, easy, and safe. No chemical shots, no counting calories or points, or any other fad diet. I can't stress this enough. You eat real food every single day. You know what else you're doing while losing weight with a Waco 180? Eliminating pain, fitting into clothes you haven't worn in years, sleeping through the night and waking up refreshed and energized and happy. I lost 40 pounds in 9 weeks on a Waco 180, and Hacker lost more than 110. And you know what? You can lose whatever you want. It doesn't matter what your goal weight is. A Waco 180 weight loss will get you there quickly and safely by eating real food every single day. A Waco 180 weight loss is the clear path to success without disappointment. Give them a call, 844-346-1800, or go online at Waco180weightloss.com.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage too.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash, and they're ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. And gold market prices are at a record high. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
June is Men's Health Month. Be proactive towards your prostate, ED, low T, even kidney stones with Ackerman Urology. Offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, the Beaches, and World Golf Village. Trust the men's health experts at AckermanUrology.com.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad you're with us till 8 o'clock. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. If you did miss it earlier, the Jaguars and the rest of the NFL, all 32 teams, announced training camp dates, or at least when they're going to report. So the Jaguar rookies are in a month from tomorrow, July 19th. The rookies are in. The veterans will come in 3 days later on July the 22nd. And one would assume at that point, the first practice will be Wednesday, July the 23rd. So we are just over a month away from Jaguar training camp. They will have a joint practice session with the Miami Dolphins down in South Florida. I believe that'll be roughly August 21st or so. So we know the dates of training camp, and we also have the date of the joint practice. You know, it was interesting talking to Brian Sexton. In Denmark, I can tell, as I've basically grown up in this business, and now I'm not necessarily the old guy, but there's a lot of young guys here, a lot younger than I am, including yourself. Man, when I was your age, 24, 25, 26, just running and ripping in Jacksonville Beach, man. Are you kidding me? Those were the good old days. Come in, do the radio program. When we get into June, I'd be counting it down, man. I'd be like, all right, we're, 87 days away and 71 days away. And that was one of my things to do on the show. But I've soon realized as I've gotten older that I don't want to count these days down anymore, man. This is what it's all about for us. Because once like mid-August gets here, and again, I wouldn't trade this job for anything outside of maybe winning Powerball. But once mid-August gets here, we're not taking any time off. So I don't wish days away anymore. And I just, the summer months are too good to go to Vegas to see Kenny Chesney, or I got another week-long getaway in July. Just enjoy it because it'll be here before you know it. But when those training camp days came out, you kind of reflect back on the offseason that was. I've been lucky enough to either be an intern, a producer, or an on-air host on really 4 different radio stations here, but only 2 different companies. I've been doing it since 2002. It'll be 23 years for me in August. And I can't ever remember an off season that has been this crazy. From everything that transpired with Liam Cohen and the coaching search. Well, first you fire Doug Peterson on Black Monday. And then everything that transpired with the coaching search, that weird Zoom press conference with Shad Khan and Trent Baalke. That was one of the most awkward things I've ever seen, to be honest. And how we got from that press conference to like 30 days later, Cohen, Baselli, and Gladstone. You want to talk about a complete and total 180. Thankfully, Shad realized he needed to move on from Trent, and he did, and the result has been what it has been. But then they were the most active team in free agency, and they trade up to take Travis Hunter, and James Gladstone's become kind of a rock star nationally because he's only 34. I think the more Liam Cohen goes on these shows, the more people are getting to like him. And you really think about it, Denmark, and you and I are so encompassed by it, and you and I have been doing this show together for 3.5 years now, which is pretty crazy to think about as well. But in all my time of doing radio in Jacksonville, which again is well over half of my life, I can't ever remember an off season that has been as wild as this one. And honest to goodness, it doesn't even really feel like we've had an off season because there's been so much to talk about every single night.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never been one of those people that counts down the days until the season starts, but I feel like every week, like there is something that you have to tune in to watch, whether it be golf or right now the College World Series, hockey. Playoffs were good. The NBA playoffs were really good this year. And I know you usually have those every year, but this year it feels just like it was more ramped up than usual for some reason. And then you add on top of, the whole Travis Hunter aspect, like this offseason, yes, it's been pretty wild, but had we gotten Mason Graham, I feel like it would be like, all right, Mason Graham, tackle, let's move on.
Agreed.
And then Travis Hunter just put everything on, tenfold on steroids.
Travis Hunter was like the hot fudge on top of the ice cream, right? He was the finishing touch to what has been a wild offseason. And I'm an obscure sports guy, right? I mean, I am fired up for Wimbledon. I watched every bit of the French Open. I'm that weird guy that likes, Grand Slam tennis. I always have. The Florida Gators doing what they did in college basketball and winning a national championship. Heck, the Florida Panthers for the second year in a row winning the Stanley Cup. You have the Orlando Magic making a huge trade, which we're going to talk about with Sean Devaney, my NBA guy, Heavy.com. That comes up in less than 15 minutes. Not only was it an awesome offseason for the other sports, but locally or regionally, there was a lot of stuff that happened. And now, you look at the calendar, and again, we're only a month away from training camp. And when you start thinking about Jaguar training camp, and we'll certainly do more of this as we get closer, there's going to be a lot of position battles, man. There are so many new guys on this team. Of the 90 guys that they have here right now, well over 50 of them were not here in January. Heck, we're probably getting close to 55 to 60 of them were not here in January. They keep releasing guys that were here last year and keep bringing new guys in. I mean, it has been a roster turned upside down. So there's a lot of that. There's the fact that this staff is all pretty much new, with a couple of exceptions, but by and large, it's a new staff. So they don't have really any loyalty to most of these guys. They didn't draft any of these guys. Gladstone didn't, except for obviously the rookie class. So could we see some surprises? Could we see some trades? Could we see some more stuff even in the next month before training camp? And there's going to be some great position battles. I look on the O-line. I look at safety. How's that running back situation going to work out with Etienne and Bigsby and even Bashel Tootin, the rookie from Virginia Tech? And we'll certainly talk more and more about it over the next month. But when those training camp dates came out, and we know we're only a month away now, you kind of reflect on what has been. And it's the craziest offseason Jaguar-related that I can remember in the 23 years that I've been doing sports talk radio here in the great city of Jacksonville, Florida. The NBA offseason, it's not even started yet, but it's been wild already. Trades, the draft is next week, and we still haven't crowned an NBA champion. Let's talk about all of it. Sean Devaney, Heavy.com, one of my NBA guys, has been so for years. Sean joins me next on a Wednesday evening here in Northeast Florida. You got it right here on Hacker After Dark.
Hey, I know if you give me time, baby, we can do whatever we want. Look past left prom. Oh, ready?
I'm David Garrard on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer. Nobody but Nimnick. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right, and they give a bunch back to the community. Visit NimnickBuickGMC.com today to learn more, or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances. That's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less.
Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors. Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, is thrilled to announce you can get all of their flavors and original vodka at PJ Liquors in St. Augustine. PJ Liquors, since 1999, has been serving up summertime fun. Now enjoy Brackish Vodka, the #1 local vodka in North Florida. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka, and you can find their 9 flavors at PJ Liquors. Brackish Vodka, for whatever your sport is. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione. Campione Law.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
And welcome back to another episode of Potty Talk with our current champion. So what's your secret to your perfect plumbing proficiency?
It's simple, really. Roland Reach Plumbing is always the right answer.
Roland Reach Plumbing, 260-7059.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Poker fans, ready to ride the waves and win big? Join us at Best Bet St. Augustine for the Summer Splash giveaway. Over $40,000 in prizes are up for grabs, including a 2025 Yamaha Wave Runner. Join us now through August 8th to earn entries into the big giveaways. Every hour of poker play and table game play earns you an entry. The more you play, the more chances to win. Come play and win big at Best Bet St. Augustine. Visit bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too. From Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
When the sun goes down, you might think a golf course shuts down, but not at the Golf Club of Southampton. Join the gang every Thursday night for trivia with Brooke and Jason, and everybody's favorite night, Friday night on the patio, featuring local musicians, food, and drink. It's all at the Golf Club of Southampton. Great golf. You've come to expect that. But don't forget, when night falls, the fun doesn't stop. Trivia every Thursday night and Southampton's live music patio session Fridays. Call 287-PLAY to make a tee time and the good time.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn Floral Arrangements. Dylan Denmark here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. If you have a school, team, or group that would benefit from a team store, you're in luck because we now offer team stores. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The NBA Finals, Oklahoma City, only one win away after a dominating performance in Game 5. They lead 3-2. They will look to close it out later this week up in Indianapolis for Game 6. Of course, the Pacers are going to win that game to force a decisive Game 7. How great would that be if that is the case? We have the NBA Draft, which is, golly, what, about a week away now. It is right around the corner, and a huge trade in the NBA involving the Orlando Magic. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Sean Devaney. Heavy.com is where you find his work. Sean's covered the NBA for years, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, Sean, we're good. It's a busy time for you. Appreciate you taking time out. All right, Orlando. I don't know if it's necessarily a swing for the fence, but it was quite a statement. They trade KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 first-round picks, which I'm going to ask you about those in a moment because I was getting pretty fired up on social media all weekend, Sean, about that. For Desmond Bane from Memphis. On the surface, your thoughts about the trade the Magic made?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big price to pay, obviously, but it is also the going rate for a player like Bane, and we saw it last year with the Knicks and the package they sent for Mikal Bridges, and this was right along the lines, right along the same lines as that deal. And so, yeah, it's definitely a high price to pay, but he's a perfect fit for what this team is trying to do, what it saw as its weaknesses. And, he'll turn 27, I believe, like next week or so. So, still a fairly young guy, still right in his prime in terms of his NBA career. Exactly what they needed. They needed somebody who could shoot without giving up anything on the defensive end. They needed another playmaker, a guy who can be sort of a secondary ball handler, which Bane has done. And really, he's the guy who, when he's played without Ja Morant, has done a pretty good job. He doesn't have the same style of play, obviously, as Ja Morant, but he's put up pretty much the same numbers as Ja Morant, and that offense put up pretty much the same numbers as when Ja Morant was healthy. So, this is a guy who obviously Orlando identified as somebody it would overpay for. They had to overpay for him, but I think that the results will be there, and we'll see them next year.
Getting rid of the KCP contract I thought was big. Cole Anthony, look, I love Cole Anthony. He was, I think, the second longest tenured member of the Orlando Magic, but his time had come and gone. They drafted Anthony Black. They got Jalen Suggs. I mean, Anthony was getting very little minutes when everybody was healthy. And the 4 first-round picks, look, number 16 this year, the Suns pick in 2026, I think, was the big one. That was kind of the ooh moment, yeah. But 2028 and 2030, Sean, it was driving me nuts, man. I mean, if Orlando is going to be as good as they believe they are, that 2028 pick and that 2030 pick is going to be in the 20s, and in the NBA, that's a crapshoot at best. So I think people were making too much out of the 4 first-round picks. I do think the Phoenix pick in 2026, that was the big one.
Right. Right. And the Knicks kind of justified things. We mentioned the Bridges deal, and the Knicks kind of justified things along those lines, which is, we're dealing away lower first round picks who are no sure thing to even make the league, let alone, become good players. So, and like I said, this is the going rate. Like, this is what you've got to do to be able to get a player like this at his age. And that's the thing is you've got to be able to sell out some of the future. The era of being able to go ahead and sign players in free agency has pretty much departed. With the way that the aprons are now and the luxury tax, you can't just say, okay, we're going to get under the cap and go sign a $20 million free agent, a $30 million free agent. It's just not the way business is being done in the NBA these days, really, ever since these came online a couple of years ago. So, you've got to be able to take big swings in trades, or else you're just not going to be able to significantly improve your team. And the Magic saw an opportunity to significantly improve their team at a time when the Eastern Conference is there for the taking, and the Magic have to be considered among the contenders in the East now. This is something that they simply had to do.
Sean Devaney, Heavy.com. I was going to ask you, now with the core four, they're calling it, Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane. You sprinkle in a Wendell Carter Jr. You're going to get Mo Wagner back. I mean, Anthony Black. Well, we know the names, right? I mean, where would you put Orlando kind of in the grand scheme of things in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously the Celtics, the Jason Tatum injury changes the dynamics for them. The Cavaliers will be back. They'll probably make some moves and do some things, but they'll still be one of the contenders in the East. The Knicks will be there, and you can't count out the Pacers after what we've seen from them. But beyond those three teams, I think you've got to have Orlando certainly on the fringe of those teams, if not right in the middle of them. With this move, I think a lot of it is going to be dependent on, really, to me, Anthony Black is probably the most important player, and his development and what he can show, especially as a point guard, because they've got to be able to get up and down the floor better than they have. That they're such a good defensive team, such a good rebounding team. They can force turnovers, but they don't take advantage of them with points on the other end. Watching the Thunder in the finals, you can really see how it's not just that they force turnovers, it's how they make you pay for those turnovers. And the Magic need to get more of that into their offense. I think he's probably a key. But if they can do that, certainly you look at that, and Bane will be part of that as well. If they can do that, then there's no reason to think that they can't be right on par with Cleveland, with New York, and with Indiana going into next year.
We talked a month ago, you and I, and you talked about there's going to be a lot of trades. There's not a lot of money to be spent in free agency, so there's going to be a lot of trades. So we saw the first big one involving the Orlando Magic and Memphis. Do you think this is just a precursor to much maybe bigger trades, maybe Kevin Durant, Giannis? I mean, how big could we get here?
Yeah, there's no question that Kevin Durant I would be absolutely stunned if he comes back and plays for Phoenix next year. He'll be somewhere else. So you're at least going to be talking about one of the best players all time is certainly going to be on the move. You've got Boston. They've got to do something. If they only trade Kristaps Porzingis, that would still be a pretty big deal. But I think they're going to do more than that. I think they're investigating Drew Holiday, what the market is for him. Even Derek White they're investigating. I don't think they'll trade Jaylen Brown, but certainly, if they got an offer that knocked their socks off, they'd have to consider that. They're going to be very active. I think the Lakers are certainly willing to trade Austin Reeves if they can get them a big man. So that's certainly something that's worth looking at. I think the Rockets are another team, as good as they were this year, and they won 52 games. They've got a lot of young talent and picks that they can convert into a big time player. If it's not Kevin Durant, it'll be interesting to see where they pivot to. You really have really a lot of situations that where teams are going to be very much open for business in terms of the trade market. And both buying and selling. So that's going to make for, I think, a pretty eventful summer. And like you said, free agency it's not what it used to be, and it's hard to see that coming back anytime soon. So teams that want to make changes are going to have to do it via trades.
A couple more for Sean Devaney, Heavy.com, covering the association with us here on 1010XL. Oh, by the way, the finals are still going on. I've been so caught up in the Magic trade, but here Oklahoma City is one win away to take a 3-2 lead in the series. Boy, Indiana, Sean's got to be kicking themselves. They had Oklahoma City down 2-1. They have a 10-point lead at one point in the fourth quarter of Game 4. And Oklahoma City, to their credit, unbelievably resilient. And now it looks like Oklahoma City, it's only a matter of time before they're world champions.
Yeah, this feels a lot like the Denver series in the conference finals, but pretty much the same thing happened. Actually going right back to game one, where they coughed up a big win, a potential win against the Nuggets on that Aaron Gordon dunk, if you remember that, and lost game one, and that everything has sort of proceeded the same way, including a game four where they're down, where Oklahoma City's down late in that game, and probably should have lost and been down 3-1 in the series. This is a team that if you get them down like that and you let them back up, you're going to regret it. They've shown, one of the big question marks about them was their maturity level and can they handle the playoffs, and they haven't been here before. I think that Denver series taught them a lot, and I think you can see them applying that here in this Pacers series. And I really am reluctant to count out the Pacers from what we've seen of them, but it does seem like right now Oklahoma City's got pretty good control of this thing.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets all the credit and all the pub, MVP, and obviously he's a terrific player. Sean, I got to tell you, man, this Jalen Williams cat, what he did in Game 5 was nothing short of sensational. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that can walk around dropping a 40-burger in an NBA Finals game.
And it's, what's funny is that when we talk about them, needing to get more maturity and stuff, it's pretty much him. They've got other guys who do their roles and can fill their roles. But basically what this, to kind of crystallize what the Thunder do, it's if Jalen Williams plays well, they win. And if he doesn't, they don't win. But that's pretty much, you can sum it up. And if you go through and look at their season, you look at their postseason, that's mostly that's true. If he plays well, they win. He's been a real find. A guy who can play multiple positions, can guard multiple positions. He was kind of a surprise pick when they took him at number 12 a couple years ago. A lot of people thought that was a stretch, but he's really come through with really just being a much better player than I think most people realize.
The ESPN ABC crew was pretty critical of Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, the guy got injured, right? He had a calf injury, and then he came back. But clearly, he was not himself, and it looked like at times he might have been a liability for the Pacers on the court. Now, he said after Game 5, if he can walk, he's going to play. I doubt they sit him down, Sean, but you might have to have a conversation, right? Because they did not look very good with Halliburton out there in Game 5 because of that injury.
Yeah, that's where, every player, especially at this stage, wants to play. But that's where coaches and trainers have to come in and say, look, you're not playing. And that's a tough thing to have to tell a player. It'd be a tough thing to have to tell Halliburton, certainly. But, I can understand at this point if Rick Carlisle says, you know what, you brought us here. If you think you're ready, go ahead and go. But he's going to have a pretty short leash. If it's obvious that he's limping, if it's obvious that he can't go, if it's obvious that he's causing more problems than he's solving, then you got to get him out of there and trust some of your other guys. And the Pacers are deep. TJ McConnell's very effective, and they've got other guys who can run the point. Benedict Mathurin, we've seen, has had a real impact at times in this series, of 27 points the other day. So, they've got other options. Nobody's Tyrese Halliburton, obviously, but I'd have a hard time imagining that Rick Carlisle will just say, no, he's not going to play at all. But at the same time, he's going to have a pretty short leash on him if it's clear he's not getting the job done.
Sean, leave us with this. The finals are still going on. Trades are going down. And the NBA draft is next week. I mean, the league calendar is absolutely wild. I guess it's the Cooper Flagg draft, right? That's all the talk. He's going to be number 1. But what are some of the big storylines you're going to be looking for next week with the draft?
Well, probably trades as well. I think it looks like, Dylan Harper is pretty well set at number 2, assuming San Antonio keeps that pick. And then things get a little wild at Philadelphia with number 3. I wouldn't be surprised if Philadelphia trades out of there and tries to find, maybe a more veteran presence. And if they do keep that pick, then it's wide open. It could be Trey Johnson. Ace Bailey has been sort of the presumed guy from Rutgers, who would be number 3. But it looks like the Sixers are looking elsewhere if they do keep that pick. So, I think that's where really the fun starts. I think there'll be a lot of trades on draft night. But really, number 3 at Philadelphia, that's where things are going to get really interesting. And as you know, that's pretty early in the draft to start getting interesting. So yeah, this is not going to be a color by numbers sort of draft. This is going to be pretty wild. There's going to be a lot of, I believe, unexpected twists and turns here.
Sean, final question. What are you hearing about Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida?
I think he's got a real shot at getting into the back end of the first round. I think that's really anywhere in the 20s, because of his experience level. And you're going to have playoff teams. Boston is a team I know has interest in him. You're going to have playoff teams. The Clippers are a possibility, where they're going to look at this. And this is a guy who has proven a lot. And we think he can be a contributor right away. So I don't think he gets out of that first round. I think he winds up, going somewhere in the 20s there.
All I know is Orlando just traded Cole Anthony. It'd be awful nice to replace him with Walter Clayton Jr.
I believe they're 25, right?
25,
So
yep.
He would be the and that's a team, like I say, you need somebody who they could put on the floor sooner rather than later, and he would be an ideal fit, no question.
Sean Devaney, Heavy.com. Sean, it's a busy time. Thank you for taking time out. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Thank you, Ryan.
In a world where life can be predictable, I will give them something they've never seen before. 1010XL. Now, the Florida Gator Report on 1010XL, brought to you by San Jose Collision.
The defending national champions will be making a pit stop here in Duval next season as they'll face the Miami Hurricanes in a neutral site matchup. It'll be the first time the Gators and Hurricanes have squared off on the basketball court since 2019, and the game will be played in mid-November. Florida has won 6 of their last 10 against Miami and hold a 23-game lead over them in the series all time.
Leon Searcy here. There's a little bit less of the big fella right now, thanks to physician-guided weight loss. I'm down 15 pounds in just 2 months. Already feeling better than I have in years. And with no side effects using their GLP-1 prescription. Gotta admit, it's pretty easy. And right now, you can get the first month at just $90 with a visit, the meds, and the 3D body scan. Don't wait to bring sexy back. Get started now with physician-guided weight loss at pgweightloss.com.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234 plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Take a radio boat ride with Captain Cabin on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Wheeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services and Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Power bill just went up again? Why keep paying more? Clay Solar can wipe that electric bill out. Right now, they'll cover your first 6 months' payments. Visit claysolar.com today to schedule your free consultation. claysolar.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Need or want cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
June is Men's Health Month, and here's your reminder to be proactive and get screened for early detection at Ackerman Cancer Center. Many cancer instances are largely preventable and treatables. Take steps now to minimize your risk factors at AckermanCancerCenter.com.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. This just in on Hacker After Dark.
You know, so I had my buddy Andrew Spivey, GatorCountry.com, on last night, and we were talking about how Florida and Billy Napier red hot on the recruiting trail. I mean, they had, one or two commitments 2.5 weeks ago. Now they got a dozen, and from some pretty big name prospects if you're in the recruiting world. Well, they just got another one in the last 15 minutes. CJ Brana, cornerback from, I believe, Windermere, was committed to Nebraska, decommitted from Nebraska, was down to Florida and Florida State. It was a Gator Seminole battle, and Florida got him 15 minutes ago. Got him by mean a verbal commitment. Of course, nothing is official for, several months till December. But I'm telling you, man, Billy Napier is starting to recruit his tail off. We talked about getting a guy at Florida that loved recruiting because Dan Mullen did not, and Jim McElwain was just horrible at it. Well, Billy Napier, some people were concerned in the first year or two. Obviously, the results haven't been what Florida fans wanted up until the last month last year, where you knock off LSU and Ole Miss and Florida State and you win the bowl game. But there is no doubt that Florida is starting to cook a little bit on the recruiting trail. Again, I'm not as much in the recruiting world as I used to be. I used to be engrossed by it. 2016, 17, 18, and 19, that's a large portion of what I did. I talked to, 500 kids probably, maybe over that in that 4-year stretch. I mean, if a kid committed to Tennessee or Mississippi State or LSU or Arkansas or Florida, I was on the phone with him. That was what I did for 4 years. Not as much now, but I still follow it, and I have guys on that I talk about it with so that I can bring you, the good folks of Jacksonville, Florida, the recruiting information that you desire. So I'm not going to pretend to break down the X's and O's of a lot of these kids, but what I will say is they keep getting a lot of 4-stars. In Brunna, this cat tonight, again, just decommitted from Nebraska and committed to Florida, is the number 6th ranked corner in the nation, according to 24/7 Sports. The number 72 ranked player nationally, according to 24/7 Sports. And Denmark, you and I have talked a lot about Billy Napier. Obviously, this is an important year for him on the trail. It's an important year for him win-loss-wise. I don't think many people thought Billy would be here in June of 2025, back in June of 2024. The fact that he is, and the fact that he's starting to get a little traction on recruiting, things are trending in a very positive direction for him in Gainesville, are they not?
Yeah, and also, by the way, this kid that just committed won the 100-meter in 4A with a 10.3 400-meter. He's only 6'1", like a $175, but 10.3 in high school is insane. Yeah, I mean, in the month of June, this is the time where you have to recruit. You know, you can't wait till December anymore because of the way that things are. And, you know, with scholarships, a lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll say, okay, we're sending out, 15 scholarships to one position. The first, couple of guys that commit, those are your spots. And so, you've seen Florida the last 2 weeks now. I forget what the number is, but it's quite a few. And Florida, not even 2 weeks ago, was outside of the top 50. And I'm sure now after this commit, they'll be within right around the 20s.
Oh, I think 24/7, has them after this commit. They're going to be inside the top 20. And again, I'm not pretending to be an expert on this any longer, but I go by what the websites tell me. What the websites tell me is this is the third commitment for Florida of players ranked inside the top 200 nationally in the last 10 days. Justin Williams, wide receiver, Gainesville Buchholz, the number 193 ranked player, a 4-star wide receiver. Marquez Daniel, a 4-star wide receiver out of Booker T. Washington, Tuskegee, Alabama, the number 127 ranked player in the nation. And tonight, C.J. Brunna, a cornerback from Windermere, Florida, the number 72 ranked player in the nation. So Billy Napier starting to do some things on the trail, and not to be outdone, and in the interest of fairness, Florida State has had a good couple of days. I've seen them get a couple of 4-stars as well. We talk about recruiting in Denmark. This is your world in high school football, and we got to go quick here. But the recruiting calendar has moved way up, man. 10 years ago, heck, even 5 years ago, May, June, July were just kind of dead when it came to commitments. Man, that is no longer the case. This is the time now where these kids are getting this done and focusing on their senior high school seasons.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's as much as focusing on their senior season as much as it is like I said, there are limited spots for scholarships, and with COVID, you had so many guys playing college football, and if you have an available spot, they're just going to hit the transfer portal in December. So you have so many guys, and these coaches are telling them, look, if you want to commit and you want to come to the school, you better get it in now. And you can't wait until December and wait, because if you wait, you can't wait for that February signing period, because then we're going to have a spot for you, and then it's a trickle down effect that all the SEC, the Power Four now, it's all going to trickle down to the Group of 5. So you're going to settle for Memphis or a UCF. Well, not even UCF anymore. The other part of the Big Four. So it's just you have to get your recruits in and commit now and have a spot before you even start your senior high school football.
Our AFC West previews kick off. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's all about the AFC West. We will make stops in Denver, in Las Vegas, and in Los Angeles, but we're going to kick it off tonight in Kansas City, a team that has absolutely owned the AFC West for almost a decade now. My buddy Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810, the afternoon drive host in Kansas City. Let's review the Chiefs offseason. Let's talk a little Patrick Mahomes, a little Travis Kelce, and more. Talking AFC West. Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City, joins me next right here on Hacker After Dark.
How can you describe Lauren Brooks?
At 16, she won the gold, turned pro, and was named one of Barbara Walters' most fascinating persons.
Lauren Brooks on Helmets and Heels from noon to 2
You like strong women. I've done my homework.
on 1010XL.
Just when you thought we couldn't bring you more, Keon Atlantic is here with a brand new store. We have the same great team to treat you well. With new savings during our grand opening sale. Keon Atlantic is here with the new store. Shop our best offers and largest selection yet. Save big during our grand opening sale. Is there something for everyone on our lot? You bet. If you're ready to experience something new, the all-new Keon Atlantic is ready for you. Your perfect ride is a visit away. Online at KeonAtlantic.com. Keon Atlantic, your coastal Kia connection.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
Jacksonville, Florida. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to ITPPartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Listen to whatever you like, whenever you want.
I like this.
1010XL on demand. Ad-free shows after the live shows end. Shadowed by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Search where you find podcasts.
Living on Amelia Island? Having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Let me repeat, do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do it yourself dirt attracting carpet soaking machines. No. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
This is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about being a godly example. Every day, we're setting an example in our words and actions. And many times, we can act one way in one setting and then totally different in another setting. My encouragement for you is to not send out mixed messages. God is depending on you to set the example in people's lives. You don't know, but you may be the only Bible that someone ever sees today.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Got a leaky faucet, AC blowing hot air, a funky smelling septic tank? No worries, Duck Rooter has your back. We're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, so you can stop juggling 3 companies and just make one easy call. Our expert techs are fast, friendly, and really know their ducks. I mean stuff. Call 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
Mia, your for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet, and you know how much I love it. My family is obsessed. With summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you and your dad want? Think tool storage, workbenches, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes all you guys. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. ClosetsByDesign.com.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. You've heard us talk about it. Window World, the #1 window replacement company in the USA, selling over 1 million windows each year for the past 8 years.
That's a lot of satisfied customers, and why J.D. Powers has awarded Window World Best in Customer Satisfaction 3 out of 4 years.
Window World stands behind their slogan, simply the best for less. With Window World, you get top quality windows at a price that leaves more of your money in your bank account, and you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement industry. When compared to our competition, there is none. See for yourself. Call the competition. Get quotes from them. But before you buy, get Window World's free estimate and compare the quality of the windows and the price.
You'll see.
And when your new Window World windows are installed and they're saving you money on your energy bills, if anything goes wrong with those windows, Window World and I will be there to make it right. That's my guarantee.
Call Window World today. Start saving money on your new windows and your energy bills, and take vacation with your savings. Window World, online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors and siding.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. One division per week leading up to the start of Jaguar training camp. This week, it's all about the AFC West. We will make stops in Las Vegas. We will make stops in Los Angeles. We will make stops in Denver tonight. It's all about a team that has not only owned the AFC West, they've owned the AFC for going on a decade now, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. My buddy Soren Petro of Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Soren, how we doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Soren, we're good. Thank you for the time. All right, you and I do a Kansas City preview every June. And I always ask you, is this the year they come back to the pack? And they never seemingly do. They always end up in the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So from a mile-high view, how would you characterize this offseason in Kansas City?
I would characterize it as, productive, but wait and see. Their problems that they had last year, that they were able to really mask throughout the year, obviously having a great season, 15-1 in regular season games that they tried in. They mailed in the last game, but were pounded by the Denver Broncos in the last game. I think even when you're mailing in that last one, you don't want to get beat the way they got beat. But righted the ship, won a couple of playoff games, back into the Super Bowl, and then got exposed on the left side of their offensive line. And it had been a problem. They had tried, 3 or 4 different guys over at left tackle. Kingsley Suamataia, the second-round pick, didn't work out. Wanya Morris, the previous year's third-round pick, didn't work out. And they ultimately had to move all-pro guard Joe Thuney over to left tackle. And, he's just not, he's about a 300-pounder and wasn't stout enough to handle the bull rush. The Eagles really exposed that. Exposed the whole left side of their line, and they got beat soundly. So they went to work, did add Josh Simmons in the draft, the 32nd pick, but he's coming off a patella injury, which is one that's a 50-50 return rate. So this is not just an ACL where it just needs time and the right rehab, but the Chiefs say all the right things, say the doctor did a clean surgery, say the rehab has gone well, Simmons is taking it serious, and they signed Jalen Moore in free agency from the 49ers, who started about 5 games over at left tackle, filling in for Trent Richardson. So they threw some numbers at it, and we're going to find out. If Josh Simmons is healthy, based upon what he was at Ohio State before he got hurt, then I think they've got it solved. But that's a big if to go into the season, especially when the Eagles put the tape out there on exactly how to expose it if it's not fixed.
Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810. All the regular season success in Kansas City, obviously the Super Bowls that they've won, yet they did lose the Super Bowl last year, as you said, in pretty convincing fashion. Philadelphia was pretty dominant there. Has there been a lingering hangover effect from that loss this offseason?
I don't think so. They got beat soundly by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2020 at the end of the 2020 season. So, they've been through this before. They lost a really disappointing AFC Championship game to the Bengals in 21. So, this isn't the first time. It may feel like it to fans who are tired of watching the Chiefs that they win it every single year, but they've had to come back under Patrick Mahomes and have a sour taste in their mouth. And I mentioned those were back-to-back years, so it's not like 2020 was the inspiration and they couldn't be stopped the following years. The Bengals stopped them. They had a bad second half in the AFC Championship game and they got beat. But I think the key for the Chiefs is that they're constantly with Patrick Mahomes and with Andy Reid. They've got the ingredients to win it if they can get to the tournament. And they're usually going to get to the tournament, and then to beat them, you're going to have a good day. The Philadelphia Eagles had a great day against the Chiefs. And I think at the end of the day, with the way, Jalen Hurts was playing, they were the better team. They were the more talented team. They loaded up for last season. They lost, I don't know how many thousand snaps from the defensive side of the ball, but they were all in for last year, and they made it all work, and it clicked on that day. I think it's going to take a similar effort to beat the Chiefs this year, again, if the left side of that offensive line comes around. Otherwise, they'll look more like the 2023 Chiefs that got into the playoffs at 11-6 and then really had to have a great day each day in the postseason, and they did, and they went on to win the championship. But they were kind of a flawed team all year that year. They'll look like that again this year if they don't fix the entire left side of the offensive line. And I've said tackle, but Joe Thuney's obviously gone at left guard as well, and they're going to try Kingsley Suamataia, who failed at left tackle last year, at left guard. So it's both left guard and left tackle they've got to solve.
We talk about the skill position talent for the good quarterbacks in the AFC. You look at Kansas City on paper. I mean, Mahomes makes everybody good because he's the GOAT when it comes to quarterbacks. But you look on paper, Soren, I mean, it's not a scary skill position group. And we know that Kelsey's getting a little older. How do you think about the running backs, the wide receivers, and that tight end group out there?
I think if they can get all their wide receivers on the field, that's a real strength. It'll be the best group they've had since Tyreek Hill left. They don't have a Tyreek Hill, but collectively it might be the best group of wideouts that they've had for Patrick Mahomes. But there are some ifs that go into that equation. Hollywood Brown, can he stay healthy? If he's healthy, he's a very productive player. Rashee Rice, if his suspension's not too long. I think everybody is still waiting on his road racing incident suspension to come down. Everybody in Kansas City expects it to come. Most people thought it would be last year, but I think the NFL usually waits for the legal process to play out. That's supposed to finally play out sometime this summer. So the expectation is that there'll be a suspension for him. And then Xavier Worthy is still just a 165-pound wide receiver. So if he can stay healthy, but he really came on as a rookie late in the year. If they can get all three of those guys down, they added Jalen Royals in the fourth round, who they really like out of Utah State. If they can get all their wide receivers healthy and on the field, they're better there. I don't think there's any way you could say that you're better at tight end. I mean, Travis Kelce's older. Reports are he's lost 25 pounds. That's good because he was heavy. He was not in great shape last year, so that's a positive. But at 36 years old, I don't think you can expect. I think that your hope is that there's a mild decline and not the fall off the cliff year that usually ultimately comes to players when they try to play a year too long. But, otherwise it's the same cast back at tight end. It's pretty much the same cast at running back. They've added, made one change. Gone is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who they started the year with last year. In is Elijah Mitchell, but Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco figure to carry the bulk of the load up front. A healthy Isaiah Pacheco will be better than what they finished with last year, but there's not really an upgrade there. So, they're counting on that offensive line, the left side, because they've got a lot of money tied up everywhere else. Most expensive center in Creed Humphrey. What is expected to be the most expensive guard in Trey Smith when they get a long-term deal done with him. He's going to be holding out until they get the franchise tag, until they get a long deal done, or he'll be playing for $23 million on the franchise tag. And Jawan Taylor makes over $20 million at right tackle with, up and down results at that spot. So they really need that offensive line to come together because I think they're largely bringing back the same team just with the hopes that the wide receiver core will be the part that lifts the team, lifts the offensive side of the ball.
A couple of more for Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City as our AFC West preview continues tonight, focusing on the Kansas City Chiefs. You mentioned Travis Kelce. I ask you this question every year. Father time catches up with everybody, yet Kelce, up until last year, still looked like one of the best tight ends in football. I do think, Soren, and this is an outside point of view, you're obviously around it every day. I got the vibe just watching it from afar that he maybe wasn't one of the best tight ends in football last year. And I'm curious your thoughts and how you think that'll, move forward here in 2025 with Travis Kelce, as you said, now at 36 years of age.
Yeah, I think the language there is key. Is he one of the best tight ends in football? I mean, I think he was last year. He had almost 100 catches. What he's not anymore is one of the best receivers in football, which is where he was when he was, catching 100-plus balls and 1,400 yards and averaging 12, 13 yards a catch. He's now down last year to under 9 yards per catch. He's still a good security blanket. He's still a good outlet. He's still smart. He knows where the gaps are on the defense and how to find them. He knows the offense forward and backward. So I think he is still a player you have to account for. But I think he broke like 3 tackles, and it came in one game late all year. And so, I don't think you can expect him to be a big play guy, to be explosive. I don't think you can expect him to just beat people at the goal line. He's going to be, he needs to be, for this offense to be, at its best version, probably like the third option. If he is the third option for this offense, then things are humming. It means that Rashee Rice is clicking. It means Xavier Worthy's clicking. It means Hollywood Brown is getting things done. If he's the number one option, then they've got problems, and they're a middle-of-the-pack type of offense. So, however good he's going to be, whatever label we want to put on him, for the Chiefs, at 36 years old, he can't be the number one option.
I got to ask you about Gardner Minshew. Now, in a perfect world, he won't play any in the regular season unless it's a blowout and a victory for Kansas City. But as you know, we love Gardner here in Jacksonville. How has Gardner Minshew's arrival been there in Kansas City?
Yeah, I think the feeling is they've upgraded at backup quarterback. I mean, Carson Wentz, my hope was that Carson Wentz was going to actually come in and run the quarterback sneak, and the Chiefs would actually make it easier on themselves on the short distance to go situations offensively, which have plagued them in the past. Kareem Hunt once they got Kareem Hunt, he was very good at that part of the equation, so they didn't really need it. But, we didn't see a lot from Carson Wentz when we saw him play against the Denver Broncos. It wasn't good. So I think most people in Kansas City feel like they've upgraded that backup quarterback spot. Of course, no one wants to see him play unless it is a blowout or it's because they've locked up the number one seed. But I think the feeling is that you've got a guy that with Andy Reid, you can go out and if Patrick Mahomes would be lost for 4 games, you've got a guy that you could certainly go 2-2, maybe even 3-1 with Andy Reid's offense and with the players around him. So I think they like their situation. It's the first time that Patrick Mahomes has had a quarterback that's younger than him. It's the first time that they're not trying to bring in some wisdom and experience, and I think the first time that they went for the best playmaker, and because they feel like Patrick Mahomes is finally a finished product. He is what he's going to be, and they don't need to have another kind of coach in the room, if you will. And I don't know that Carson Wentz was that last year, but certainly that's some of what they've done in the past. So, I think they got the best guy to make plays if they have to play without Patrick Mahomes. But, like you said, nobody wants to see him play 10 games.
I want to end with a general thought about the division, but quickly to the defense. We know about Chris Jones. We know how good Spagnuolo is running that defense. What is the general thought on the defensive side of the ball heading into this year?
Yeah, I think they're confident they're going to be better. They kept all of their corners. They did lose Justin Reed. That's a big loss, but Jaden Hicks was a rookie last year that they really liked. He'll step in for Justin Reed. They'll probably be a loss there because Reed was a smart veteran and was only 27, 28 years old. It wasn't like he got old and couldn't play anymore. The Chiefs just are always conscious of the youth movement on their roster, and so they walked away from Justin Reed at safety, but they think Hicks can step in. They brought back Mike Edwards, a veteran, to be back there as well. I think they feel like with their depth at corner, Chamari Connor can play more at safety where he probably is a better fit than trying to play that slot corner. But in picking up Christian Fulton from the tight ends in free agency and then drafting Noel Williams out of Cal in the 3rd round, plus all the corners they had last year led by Trent McDuffie, who's an all-pro corner, I think their cornerbacks got a lot better. Now, hopefully they cover a little longer. Makes it easier for them to get to the quarterback. They tried to add to the pass rush Ashton Gelati in the 3rd round and Omar Norman-Lott out of Tennessee in the 2nd round. They've tried to add pass rush ability along the front there because Chris Jones fell to just 5 sacks. His pressure rate, his double-team rate was all still really high. I think he's still an elite player. I think he's still the first guy you have to account for on that Chiefs defense. But he's 31 years old. And, reality is Father Time's going to start catching up to him. Now, he's always in great physical condition. I expect that to be the same again this year. And so as good as he can be at 31, he will be. But I think it's going to be important for George Karlaftis to take another step. He's at 24 sacks in his first 3 years. If he could be even better at defensive end, and if they can get something out of the rookies, because they did lose Tershawn Wharton, who was a solid interior pass rusher for him. He left for Carolina, and a lot more money than the Chiefs were willing to pay in free agency. That's going to be important for Omar Norman-Lott and Ashton Gelati to be productive players, because they've really got nothing from Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who they drafted in the first round 3 years ago. And, they really could have used him stepping up and becoming a starting defensive end, and that just hasn't happened. So they're going to have to get some more production from those draft picks this year to be effective on that defensive line.
Soren, as we say goodbye, the division as a whole, in comes Pete Carroll and Geno Smith to go with Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Obviously, you got Harbaugh and Herbert, and, of course, Mahomes and Reed. On the surface, the quarterback head coach combos in that division is absolutely wild. Kansas City's owned that division, seemingly forever. Who is their biggest challenger this year, and do you think Kansas City will once again win the West?
I think you ride with the champs until they lose. I would take the Chiefs against any one team, but I would probably take the field against the Chiefs, and that hasn't really been the case lately. I think the schedule is fairly salty, and especially early on, and especially when they figure to be without Rashee Rice. So I think it is going to be challenging for them. If I had to pick one team, I would probably pick the Chargers, just because Herbert is more experienced at quarterback than Bo Nix. I think everybody in Denver is very excited about what Bo Nix can be, but we've seen guys have a big first year. The question is now, can he build on it, right? Can he take that next step for the Broncos? But Denver really does seem to have a formula. They really are just a bad matchup, it feels like, every time the Chiefs play. Even when the Chiefs win, since Sean Payton's been there, it's a hard-fought rock fight of a game. And Sean Payton said if we'd gotten by Buffalo, which they got trounced by Buffalo in the playoffs, but he said we really felt good about our next matchup, which was going to be the Chiefs, which irritated some people in Kansas City, but is a fair assessment. They crushed the Chiefs in the game that didn't matter at the end of the year. They've given them problems. The Chiefs needed a blocked field goal to win it against the Broncos in the regular season game, or they certainly tried at home. So I think one of those two teams, I think the Raiders will be a much tougher team to beat, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to make their way through this division. It'll be the Broncos or Chargers, and if I had to bet, I'd bet on the Chargers.
And, of course, the Chiefs do come here to Jacksonville for Monday Night Football there in week number 5. Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in the Kansas City area. Soren, appreciate the time. Thank you as always. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Ryan, you're the man. Thanks for having me, buddy.
And thank you to my buddy Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City, for joining me tonight here on Hacker After Dark as our AFC West preview kicks off tomorrow and Friday. We will make stops in Los Angeles, in Las Vegas, and in Denver. But we obviously had to start in the AFC West with a team that's won it like 9 years in a row, Kansas City. Now, are the Chiefs maybe a little more vulnerable than they have been in years past? Well, perhaps, and I don't necessarily know if they've gotten considerably worse. I think the division's getting better, right? Denver is clearly better. Las Vegas now with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith looks like they're getting better. And L.A. was a playoff team last year, as was Denver. So the division is getting tougher, but clearly coming into the year, you would still expect the Chiefs to be the favorite once again in the AFC West. So we talked a lot about that. Certainly talked a lot about the NBA Finals, the NHL Stanley Cup has a champion now in the Florida Panthers back-to-back. Spent some time on that. Obviously never got too far away from the Jaguars as well, as we are just about a month away from Jaguar training camp. Well, that will just about wrap it up, man. It's been a very busy Wednesday evening here on Hacker After Dark, in for Baloo on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. And we have a ton of people to thank. Again, my buddy Soren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. He's been my guy when it comes to the Chiefs for many years, and we certainly appreciate Soren taking time out for us tonight. Thank you to Sean Devaney, Heavy.com, covering the National Basketball Association. We talked NBA Finals. Can the Oklahoma City Thunder wrap things up in game number 6, or will Indiana circle the wagons and force a game 7? Look, as an NBA fan, I would love for Indiana to win, to force a game 7 back in OKC. It's just hard to think that's going to happen based on the way the last 5 quarters of that series have gone, but we will certainly find out. We also spent some time with Sean on the NBA draft The NBA draft is next week, if you can believe that. So talked about Walter Clayton and a lot of the prospects, and obviously the big trade that involved the Orlando Magic acquiring Desmond Bain. So thank you to Sean Devaney of Heavy.com. And back in hour number 1, my buddy Brian Sexton of Jaguars.com, as we put a bow on OTAs and on minicamp. Looked ahead to training camp as well. So we always thank Brian Sexton for joining us here on Hacker After Dark. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 6 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Thursday beginning at 6 o'clock.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho